we're still here today.
Nephilim Death Squad. When the last trumpet sounds and the heavens crack, blah, 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 blah. Nephilim Death Squad. Nephilim Death Squad. Death Squad. Death Squad. Death Squad.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of Nephilim Death Squad. I am David Lee Corbo, a.k.a. The Raven. That is TopLobsta, the father of disinformation.
The father of Matcoin.
And we are guamming at you live from the Standard Coffee Shop and Casino /NDS Studio /Fabrication Shop. If you want to come and say hi, do that. Don't go outside and scream like a crazy woman, though. That's not something that you should do. Don't stand outside the shop and scream.
We'll
into the air.
feed you. If you ask, we'll feed you.
If you ask. If you're hungry and you show up and you need something to eat, we got you. It's on us.
If not, donate to the Patreon.
Patreon.com/Nephilim Death Squad. Sign up there. Gain pictures of hot dogs. Don't show them. That's for the members only. Don't show those hot dog pictures.
I wanted to show the hot dogs.
No, don't show the hot dog pictures. If you sign up there, you'll gain early access to episodes before the general public, as well as first dibs on tickets to Bohemian Grove, which we've officially pushed the thing
You've got
back.
good eyes. You can see
Don't
the
look
hot
at
dog.
those hot dogs. Those are for the members' eyes only.
There are many hot dog pictures.
Well, yeah. 'cause
Here's
we
another
had
one.
many. I'm a little gassy.
Here's another
I'm
one.
not going to lie to you.
It's every day. This is becoming a problem. Let's get into the show.
Like a stomach ulcer is developing. We are joined today by Steven of the Biblical Hitman, not the one that owes us the moon map, one that is still in our good graces. And we're here live in studio, which is always a lot of fun. Good to have you, brother. How you been?
Yeah, good, man. Good. Thanks for having me back on. And it's always a great opportunity. And, just come out here and chop up some stuff.
Yeah, well, you were here. I think every time somebody shows up in public, they're like, in IRL, they're like, this is a kind of a psychotic operation because we're up until the moment where we go recording. I've laid out, like 30 Pokemon cards in front of you, and there's a listener stop by and we're chatting him up, and it doesn't feel like we're going to do a show until all of a sudden you hit the buttons and then the show begins. It doesn't feel professional at all. But before we get into the conversation today, let's remind everybody where they can find your work.
Yeah. Appreciate that, man. My name's Steven. I'm the host of the Biblical Hitman. You can find our show on YouTube, audio platforms, Apple Podcasts, Spreaker, Spotify, and pretty much all the social medias that everyone consumes. Everyone has their own little app, so hopefully we're on that one.
I don't know, when there are people out there that use the stranger apps like a Podbean or a Sprout Cast or a it's beyond me that there are people that are listening on any other platform that isn't Spotify or Apple Podcasts, but they're out there.
I don't listen on that. I listen on something called
Podcast Addict. Is that what you're using?
Podcast Addict.
That's weird, dude.
It's a crackhead
Why
app.
wouldn't you use Spotify?
I don't know. As like a professional podcaster,
yeah, you think that you would do better.
this app, to be honest, this app is better than
Spotify?
Than Spotify. It's better than
it wrapped up.
Shout out our new sponsor.
I went from SoundCloud to
you rap
or whatever. No, that's how I got introduced to Spotify. Was through little apps like that,
SoundCloud and such. I see somebody in the
know.
Jet Pandafly says that she uses Podcast Addict. I didn't know that. I had no idea that anybody was actually using those apps.
I listened to a lot of rap when I was younger.
So did I. Yeah.
Wearing like tall tees and basketball shorts.
I used to have triple XL Galaxy brand T-shirts. They were either all white or all black. And I would sag it's funny because my son was like making a joke. And he's walking around and he's sagging his pants yesterday. And I got so upset.
Beat him up?
No, but it was just like, I was like, hey, fix your pants. What are you doing? Fix your pants. And he's like, what's the matter? It's a joke. I said, no. And I had him fix his pants. And I'm just thinking like, is it because I used to do that it upsets me so much to see him doing that? But I was bad, man. I was like, the low top, all black Air Force Ones, pants sagging off. I don't know what. I went through a phase. It was a long phase. It kind of was who I but I wasn't a SoundCloud rapper. So I guess you had me beat on that front.
Well,
Jesse used to rap.
Yeah,
I believe that.
Least surprising thing you said today.
Yeah, I think so. That's actually on brand.
Shout out Jesse. Yeah, I saw you guys did a show together recently.
Oh, very cool.
What
was that about?
I threw some shorts out there, of him trying to wheel him back in, man. Just trying to wheel Jesse back in. But we recently, me, Doc Brown from Prometheus Lens podcast, we went out there to Vegas. Doc was going on a show. He was going on Sean Kelly's show to talk about his book, Epic of Esau. But while we were out there, we stayed with Jesse. Obviously, you know, if anyone follows the show, The Biblical Hitman, you could see that the kind of crew got dispersed a little bit. They're kind of still part of the show, but their priorities have kind of switched up a little bit, which is understandable, right? Like,
So they're still making appearances and such, right?
Yeah,
What was the
yeah.
episode about that you
brought him on. He was getting.
This was
into,
about me kicking him off the show.
It was funny because it like had like that awkward mist in the air, you
Yeah.
know, where you could see he was out of the element for a little bit. You know, when you're not on camera, you're not in front of a microphone, and but he didn't show it. You know, I just kind of knew, right?
Yeah.
He still got that professional
he's
inside
still,
of him.
Oh yeah, he's got that dog in him, right? So we did that, and we got into TPUSA, Candace Owens, kind of like that whole thing. He follows a lot of like the political stuff, right? And I don't think it's just surface level stuff. You know, I think there is some things to what they're saying, right? Candace Owens is kind of getting into talking about Erica Kirk and TPUSA and a lot of the affiliations that may have, you know, it's kind of like alleged, right? But may contribute to what's going on with that organization. And, you know, but who does Candace work for, right? Like, to me, she's got a pretty big Catholic background, but as not, the Catholic has nothing to do with it. It's just who's involved with that system is more, you know, what has to do with it.
This might be a question for both you guys then, because I find myself unable to look at the whole Candace Owens situation, but then I'll hear like fascinating things that she's saying at any given point. I just won't look at it with any actual commitment. What the hell is she talking about these days?
No, she gets into she's actually starting to express some very mystic values that she holds.
Oh.
Right? So she's getting into that Charlie Kirk is appearing in her dreams.
Time
It's
travel,
like,
right?
it's just more messaging, right? It's
Right.
more messaging from whatever area of metaphysical world we don't know. Biblically, and as a Christian, I just feel you shouldn't dabble or partake in anything that's involved in that space. But
It's a slippery place to
know,
be.
Yeah, I mean, we're talking about spiritual things that can be perceived in whatever way they want you to look them
Yeah.
up and down as. So she's being basically she's getting messaging from Charlie, right? She's getting messaging basically that, you know, hey, you know, there was a conspiracy around this. And, you know, it's up to you to basically, you know, give this information out to the public and start to enlighten people to whatever truth it may hold. But
That's what he's saying to her in
Yeah, it's kind of wild.
From
man.
where? The spirit realm? If it does or
I don't
doesn't
know
exist?
that's
dreams, right?
Right.
Dreamscape.
Which, I mean, I think that's how we can have experiences in the spiritual
Wait,
world,
from where does it come
dreams
from?
and stuff. Dreams.
That's all right. Like, you would think that would be something that I would grab onto.
But yeah, I could see he hates it.
No, I don't hate it.
Because she's
I go,
colored. She's a colored lady.
She's barely. I just, you know, I don't know.
That's even worse.
I don't know what it is. I've just not been. I've said this on the show before. I go towards like things that my gut pulls me towards, and
Hot dogs.
it could be the hot dogs that are really disrupting that process. Maybe that's why I haven't bothered to look at it. But for her to come out and say Charlie Kirk's been talking to me in my dreams, and he's telling me what? I mean, basically, like, there's truths that need uncovering, and you're the chick to do it now.
Yeah,
more or less.
I can't remember everything word for word, but at some point, that's kind of like, you know, what she's trying to get out, right?
That's
what she's
interesting.
trying to express to the audience. But, and this is the thing, man. I mean, what do you think that is, right? Like, what do you think something coming to you in your dream approach? How many times have we seen this throughout history?
Yeah.
You know, and there's been a lot of interaction that men have had with the divine feminine, right?
Yeah.
This entity that comes into people with visions, meditations, dreams, whatever you want to call it. But now, you know, no, Candace is a female, but now there's a male entity that, you know, Charlie, right? Like, that's kind of trying to message to her. So I think it's all
Yeah, but she also is playing the role of the masculine.
Sure.
She kind of is.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's an interesting observation. I would say that's accurate.
And in that aspect, Charlie is playing the role of this like damsel in distress. So still the feminine in a strange way. Does that make sense? Or am I just
yeah.
grasping
kind
here?
of like, this deer right here, right? Like a lot of people that are in meditation, they have this experience with this animal, this white stag, right? Which when I'm looking at the Disclosure Day movie trailer, it's showing a lot of naturistic messaging. One of those is the cardinal. The other one is the deer, the stag, right? It's not white, right? But I think there's something with all of that. I think that these are how things come to people to try and influence their ideas and the direction that they're going. And it's done through, this like feminine, masculine balance of whatever. But the white stag is a male animal, but it represents the divine feminine. Represents, if you look it up, it represents as a messenger, right? The divine feminine has always been like this messenger. If you look at George Washington, you look at John Dee, and you look at their experiences with the divine feminine, it's always been messaging to try and go and, basically accomplish certain things that this divine feminine wants you to do, but it's up to you to do it.
Yeah.
That's
interesting.
It sends you on the hero's journey.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of that, like in the abductee experiences, right? They'll be obviously taken against their will, and what should be looked at as the villain of your story is actually at some point it's soothing you and it's telling you you were special, you were chosen, and that it imparts upon you some mission that only you can, execute. I want to shelf that for a second, and I just want to rewind a little bit, because you were saying something about how often that we heard this sort of thing throughout history, and where I thought you were going to go was all of the people who have a loved one pass away and then appears to them in some sort of dream or vision, but it's not actually their loved one, right? Because these familiar spirits, and I'm not saying that that's what, Charlie Kirk is to Candace. I really, I don't have a gauge on how close they were, because like I said, I haven't looked at the situation. But if anybody came to me and said, my grandmother passed away, but now I've been having nightly visits in dreams by her, I'd be like, yo, caution, dog. Because these things, these familiar spirits, they know you intimately. They know what's going to hoodwink you. They'll present themselves as deceased loved ones and things like that. I've heard, I'm big on testimony, experience or testimony. You hear that a lot. One of the ones that always sticks with me is like a girl whose grandmother passed away. Nightly visitations by grandmother. They start as like soothing and positive. Slowly but surely over time, grandma starts to look a little bit different every time she appears. Eyes sunken in, impossibly wide smile. Next thing you know, this thing looks like a twisted version of her grandma. And now she's having night terrors that she's being dragged down the hallway by this thing. You know what I mean? And so it's, I don't think that means shit. When you go, such and such, after they passed away, came to me in the dream, I'd be like, the first thing you need to do is ask Jesus to if it's not from God, stop this. Stop this from happening. Whatever I've come into agreement with that's allowing this thing to present itself to me, if it's not from you, stop it. If it is from you, give me some clarity.
I told you about the dream my mom had, right? Where she was in our old house in Coney Island, and my grandmother, who passed away, I don't know, 15 years ago, walks up the stairs, and my mom's on the computer. She sees her and she's like, oh my God. And she said that she's like, she looks beautiful, like as if she's in a heavenly body, but she could recognize that it is her mother. And she goes and she hugs her. She doesn't hug back. She said, but I could feel like this extreme, like love pouring. And she's crying when she's telling me. She's like, I feel the love pouring off of her. And then she goes, this was like grandma, and she came to see me in a dream. And I think she wants to believe that, but like,
Of course, yeah, that's the thing. You
like
want
my
to.
body of work now. I'm like, I don't know how to tell you this, but she says as she hugs her and she gets close, her ear is by her mouth, and she hears her speaking in like a tongue that she doesn't recognize, just a whisper. And I was like, what was she saying? Were you able to decipher? And she said, no, I don't know, but like that was grandma. And I was like,
That's crazy. You're just like mulling over that part, huh?
Yeah.
Well, like biblically, God's telling you that necromancers are these people that are connecting to other spirits, and they could have been family members, right? But it's just telling you, like, hey, this is a practice of some sort.
Yeah, this happens.
Yeah, that you, this isn't the team you're on. So
Also, to push back, biblically, Samuel does visit Saul after Samuel is dead, and Saul tells him that, like, you're fucked. But that does happen. I don't know how that happens.
Yeah, but there was something, and I wish I remembered it now.
The Witch of Endor, like, summons Saul. And I guess really, like, if God allows it, he allows it. But that's the only iteration of that in the Bible that I've seen that will give credence to, okay, something visiting from the
Right.
dead.
Yeah.
Well, it's kind of like Paul, right? Getting caught up into the heavens, right? And really, some people could go, oh man, see, he's astral projecting. But really, like when he comes back, he's like, hey, I'm not to say of anything that basically I just interacted with or whatever, right? And so you can kind of discern, you know, what you're up against,
Yeah.
or you know what you're dealing with, right? I think it's possible.
I saw somebody in the chat said, LA, stick to the LA Marzulli way. Rebuke first, ask questions later. El Dorado, there we go. Which is like, yeah, that's it, man. You're dealing with the game is unfair when it comes to entities that exist within a spiritual realm. Their bodies are not physical. They seem to have some ability to present themselves as a multitude of things, and they're not going to not present as somebody that you were close to just because it's not fair or not nice to do that. That's exactly what they're going to do. And like you said, to your mom's point, and I'm not saying that wasn't what she was experiencing, but it's worth noting, you know, you want it to be.
Yeah.
And that's where they get you. They understand your desires. They know who you were close to. These things are ancient and they're watching all the time. So yeah, I just wanted to say that on the topic of her talking to Charlie, it's like, I don't think that she's lying. I think she probably had an experience.
I don't think she's lying either.
I find it interesting as well, like with our most recent fallout from a fake archaeologist.
Yeah.
That was one of the targets that he was really going hard after. So defending the Charlie Kirk narrative, the FBI Charlie Kirk narrative, which is just nonsense.
Yeah.
But also at the same time, really just beating that, like you'll see a lot of the Zionists beating the Candace is crazy sort of thing.
Yep.
And I'm like, no, like Candace is crazy. Yes. But that's real.
Yeah.
And now after talking with him, like the denial of the spiritual realm and her actually like embracing that part is very interesting. I don't think she's in contact with Charlie. I think she might be a little in over her head, but she is in contact with the spirit realm. And that is a very real aspect of what's happening here. So I think it's interesting when you have that in the political realm, the way we do right now. Like she's up there. She's got 7 million followers on Twitter. She's up there in these people in the political realm that are moving and shaking things.
Yeah.
And a lot of these dudes are mostly dead spiritually, or at least like, you know, they have scales over their eyes.
Yeah. She's
Now in it full force. We have other people who should be aware of the spiritual realm who are batting her down. And I think that's why they're batting her down, because she has been flirting with this time travel thing with reptilians.
Yeah, what are we talking about? The time travel thing. What did she say? Do you know?
Something about Charlie. Well, she pulled up a message from Charlie Kirk, and he said, "I feel like an alien, like I came from the past or something like that." Do you remember this text message from between these two?
Candace, let's just see.
That's interesting.
Because I have heard this sentiment, and I've definitely heard the reptilian thing.
It was a sentiment from Charlie Kirk. He said, I think I like travel back in time to meet you.
Charlie Kirk was a time traveler. Erica Kirk. Okay, this is from Tim Pool. So let's go ahead and read it. He says, "This is what I had explained on my other shows. Candace is desperately trying to one-up each show to keep her views attached. CNN did this with Trump derangement. Eventually, you collapse into absurdity. Charlie Kirk was a time traveler. Erica Kirk is a robot. Candace she might be a robot. I don't know, man. Candace Owens is now pushing that Charlie Kirk was a time traveler and said he had agents, yes, like the Matrix, monitoring him from childhood. Oh, that's fascinating.
Here's the message between her and Charles. So he goes, she says, I'm an alien. And he says, I think I'm a time traveler. This is my home, but I think you found me and time traveled with me. She pulled it back up again. This could just be nonsense, but it's very interesting that she is in that mindset now of like really exploring this crazy.
Yeah, this is full schizo. I've dabbled I've dipped
fuck
my
with it.
toe in more than a few times, come back out, recalibrated, dove back in here. I'm gonna see if I can bring this up. It's a 2-minute clip, but it'd be maybe worth skimming around a little bit, because this is, I don't know if this was even the direction of the show, but I actually find this fascinating because I had no awareness really of any of the more intimate things that she was saying. I do know that she was saying reptilians at one point. I saw that peripherally.
David got pretty upset about it.
He's like, don't, that's not fair. She's gonna talk about the reptilians, but Joe Rogan won't have me on his show. Here, let's bring this up real quick. So this is Nathan Livingstone. I don't know, Milk Bar TV.
Why did Charlie think he was a time traveler? He said, as I showed you in earlier messages, that he was a time traveler and he had to find me. Is that just something people are saying to their homies in text messages? And again, not anything that I would.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. As far as I'm concerned, that's what I say to all my homies.
Have
most of our
placed
guests,
so much emphasis on back when he was saying it, but it came to fruition. The other parts, he did die young. Why did he think that him dying young was necessary in order to change things? He did die young.
How old was Charlie?
It is related.
He's young, right? I mean, he's probably in his late
33.
30s.
Or was he 33?
No, the hell he was. Are you serious? Oh my God.
Because either he's 33 or 27. I'm like, damn, son, that's like. But continue
Turning
playing
Point
that.
USA. In some way or another, at the very least, we could all agree it's related to him speaking at
young.
a campus event for Turning Point USA. I'm totally occupied by this. I tell you, I read these messages and I'm going, what is this? What is reality, actually?
By the way,
Well, what was Charlie into to send a message like that?
fascinating.
What's he getting into or exploring or dabbling in?
Well, that's the
to
thing,
make
when
him say something like that.
when Tim Pool
Yeah.
goes like, she's descending into lunacy. Like, if you were dealt such a fascinating hand and you didn't delve into lunacy, you're a bitch, bro. Like,
Yeah.
if you're dealt something that is the abyss and it's so close to you and you don't peer into it, like, me, I'm always the one to say, like, pump the brakes when it comes to all the Gnostic crap, and conspiracy can be a slippery slope that leads to a bunch of false conclusions.
David, if you got assassinated,
Yeah.
I would be all over it.
Right. And then all of a sudden, and then if you started looking through my text messages from a time where I was speaking very cryptically, and you were like, wait a second.
Well, it's like there's a lot of hot dog references.
you have to sift through all of the hot
Talking
dog
about
references.
eggs and hot dogs and
But like, if I was assassinated at a hot dog stand and I had an egg in one hand, you'd be like, whoa,
I'd lose my shit.
holy shit. You know what I mean? So I don't have any problem with her, like, to denounce her and to be like, this is sheer lunacy. Like, hey, Tim Pool, shut up, you homo. Let her spiral and let's have a gander at this. Let's see what fruits shake out of it. But, I guess you got to dismiss everything that doesn't fit under your tiny hat. Let's pull this back up on the screen. I want to finish this a little bit.
And Charlie died. Yes, like I said, it was related to this organization. And I think we would all agree that his death and the manner that they did it changed the world in ways that I don't think we can fully realize, or certainly not in a way that I can articulate. You just cannot pretend that all of this is one.
Was that, who did that? That was Nancy. That was Nancy. Nancy, you bitch. I like how you.
I was like, she's too wealthy for that.
No.
I refuse to believe.
Big unhappy coincidence. It's entirely plausible, I think, that they knew something about Charlie. And that's why they had him marked and had him monitored and had him likely followed since he was young. And maybe they thought, like the agents think, that if they swarmed him and they stayed with him and they pretended to be his friend, that ultimately they could control Charlie and perhaps change an outcome. They could literally change an outcome related to Charlie. So
That's fascinating, man. Like, I mean, within this story of schizophrenic shit that we're constantly swirling around, that selected in childhood thing is like pretty consistent.
Hey, I mean, there's somebody else that we kind of know. Well,
Oh yeah.
yeah, somebody else in that space.
Who's selected in child. I mean, we know that the disassociative trauma-based mind control programs work the best when it starts early.
And that's what I'm wondering about some of these people. Like, are they just so MK Ultra? They it's like they got blasted with the thing from Men in Black, right? Like they just can't remember anything of the previous life that they had.
They got blapped.
Or I mean, are we talking about something of the sorts of like an underground civilization, and they foster people, you know, at a young age, and then they just kind of groom them to become, you know, influencers, social media, you know, very impactful people, right? Building audiences, and then programming people to now, hey, this is your ideologies, and go push them. I don't know. I mean, maybe social media is just doing that naturally, right? With a lot of the conflict and stuff. But with TPUSA, I don't know if you guys get this vibe, but the whole thing that happened, right, from September to where we're at now with Charlie and Erica and the organization, I see it like this, and I really look at things through this lens now. I read a book called Two Babylons by Alexander Hislop, and he really shows a lot of connections to Nimrod, right? And Nimrod's this false trinity, right? And this Nimrod, Semiramis, and Tammuz worship. And looking at the situation that happened, I have to look at that and then look somewhere in the Bible and go, well, yeah, you know, where do I find this? Well, Genesis 11, right, shows you Nimrod and, you know, united basically everyone together. It wasn't him that specifically united. It was more like everyone kind of united, lest us be scattered. But I think it's in Jasher, right? Talks about the death of Nimrod, Esau killing Nimrod, whatever, cutting his head off. But in Alexander's book, it kind of shows you that Nimrod's spirit keeps living on, but lives on through his wife, right? And when I look at TPUSA, I look at what happened to Charlie. Ooh. I look at Erica Kirk now taking over the organization, right? Semiramis took over Babylon, right? She ruled for 42 years, which is that number you'll see that's connected to this divine feminine 42. I think 77 is connected to more of the masculine side of things. I know it's like an Aleister Crowley thing. But
you think it has anything to do with like when they do MLB Day, Jackie, man, what's his name? Jackie Robinson Remembrance Day. Everyone will wear 42. I don't know if
look
you've
at
seen
what
that.
The Bible says about 42. The Antichrist will rule for 42. I think it is, right? 42 months or something, right? I think I might be wrong, but if the audience, it's a certain amount of months, which is interesting. And I think that when you look at the organization and the celebration of the funeral celebration, I say celebration because it looked like a WWE show, but it just showed divine feminine all over it, right? They were kind of like worshiping her.
Yeah.
But when you look at Erica now,
you were right. So
42, right?
Yeah. So 1,260 days, 42 months.
42 months, right? So yeah. That's something interesting to look at, right? When you have these things in Revelation as the whore of Babylon, the beast, the man of sin, false prophet and stuff, there's a relationship between the whore of Babylon, which I think is this divine feminine essence, force.
Well, it's you know, the entity they're trying to summon into the desert is named Babylon, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, you know, but they
as
just
a woman,
right?
But I think it's a seducing feminine spirit, right? I mean, Tesla talked about it. He said that he wanted society to be constructed in such a way where it would be feminized and it would be kind of similar to almost a hive mind concept of the queen bee.
Yeah. And you know what's interesting? She said, it's just interesting you said queen bee, because I think Candace said she was having dreams about beekeepers.
What?
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, that's one of the things that I came across. If you just type in Candace, and I know the bee is like a really important symbol, one that I actually am not familiar with at all. I don't know if it's the hexagonal shape of the honeycombs and that has something to do with it, or the frequency aspect of bees, but beekeeper. Yeah, she I believe she had.
Well, didn't Jamie Dyer come on and tell us about I forget, one of these old gods that does have relationship with the bees?
Yeah, that's why Queen Bee and Beyonce is such a particular thing. Maybe I'm wrong about that. I'm not seeing Candace, beekeeper. Maybe I'm not.
Well, here's the thing too, man. Like you see Erica Kirk and her transformation, right? After this has happened, and it seems like she has been balanced with a male expression.
Yeah.
Right. She's got that
masculine now. You know, the Lucifer like painting
Yeah,
where it's the
yeah.
under eyes and,
Yeah.
and it's like that,
You know,
that look of vengeance.
they showed that in Star Wars.
Really?
When Anakin Skywalker,
Oh,
you
yeah.
know, actually like gives his allegiance to the Emperor.
Yep.
You know, just before he saves the Emperor, he actually is like in this.
He does the
in
same
this
pose.
position, and he's yielding his lightsaber,
My-
showing one eye. Right.
I mean, me and my wife were sitting. My wife and we're sitting down the other day. It must have been yesterday, and she stumbled upon some rabbit hole, and it was just all about the way that Candace, Charlie Kirk's wife handles it, like the days following and everything leading up to like now. And it's like, dude, she grieves in the craziest of ways. It just doesn't make any sense. She's smiling and laughing. I think it was only like 5 days after the entire event she's on stage, and it's like, I would be unable to, I wouldn't want to look anybody. I wouldn't want you put a camera in my face after my wife passes away, after my wife is murdered, and you try to put a camera in my face a week later, 2 weeks later, that year, and you're going to have a real bad time, and you're going to get a real bad version of me. But she's on stage and she's laughing, and she's hucking it up. And, the whole thing is very bizarre.
I think the whole thing's connected to, this charismatic movement of the NAR, which is the New Apostolic Reformation, and they're really pushing this 7 mountain mandate, man. Well, they're really trying to like bring in Christ's millennial reign, which I don't think that's something the Bible tells us to work very hard to bring into.
Yeah,
this
like it's our
world.
job to bring it about.
Yeah,
Right.
I think that's up to God, right? Like,
Do you think that these like evangelicals around her, the pastor that was with Charlie when he died, those people have influence in what's going on right now?
Now this is the thing. When I was watching the funeral, they very tactically they did this, and they had multiple people going up and giving their speech about how nice Charlie was and what they did to his life or whatever. But then everyone kind of ended up giving some sort of sermon at some point.
Mhm.
But you had multiple different styles of Christianity. You had the charismatic movement there. You had some sort. You had like Apollo White style New Age charismatic movement. Then you had like a Baptist guy who was like pretty sound. Like that guy sounds good, right? And they put him right in the middle. So really, that's kind of the vibe you end up getting at the end of the whole thing. And you're not remembering or seeing what all the other, pastors or whoever that got up there and were talking about certain things. They're actually, I think that they're pushing like this. I think they're pushing this movement, and there's a spirit behind it. And I don't necessarily think, I don't think it's good. I don't think it's important to us as Christians to bring in Christ's millennial reign.
No, that's not our job.
I think we need to start looking at things from Satan's perspective, right? And I think Satan wants to bring in his utopia and mimic Christ's millennial reign. I think that's kind of like what Antichrist is, signifying. It's showing it. God in his word is trying to tell you, hey, there's someone coming that's trying to counterfeit what I just did, right? And I think it's moving. I think there's a false gospel out there. I think it's being pushed. If anything, it's being evangelized on the world. It's everything on the internet moves way faster than we can really imagine. You have people like Chris Bledsoe, Ryan Bledsoe. And again, like these are just normal people, and I'm a normal guy, I respect them, but I don't agree with the message that they're pushing out there. They're really trying to push a gnosis. They're trying to push some sort of connection with this divine feminine.
Yeah, Sophia, the sister.
I think it has everything to do with disclosure. If you just detach yourself from this psyop of disclosure and extraterrestrials and all this kind of stuff, and you zoom back out and you look at it from a Gnostic occult view, disclosure to me is just basically another word for, hey, Enlightenment Day.
Oh, yeah.
Enlightenment Day.
Yeah.
Awakening.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And that's why I don't agree with that some of these things are good. I don't agree that, maybe they're good, but they're not, they're not trying to have humanity perceive them in a certain way. What I mean by that is, when God and his angels and the people that are on, or, the spiritual entities that are on his team, they're they follow protocol. And I think these other things on the other side,
Oh yeah, they're
are-
breaking the mold. They're
Yeah.
they're going outside of their bounds.
they don't care what the book says.
Yeah.
And those angels are obedient to God, and they're coming down, and we see God sending his angels multiple times throughout the Bible, and they're very conservative.
Yeah.
They don't want to lead you astray.
And they typically identify themselves as angels of the Lord, don't they?
And they do their job.
Yeah.
They
Well,
have the
Chris
thing.
Bledsoe and everything, he's saying that these are angels, that these are the good angels, right?
Well, we were talking to
yeah.
Fringe. I don't know if you saw that episode, and she was saying that Ryan, or no, I'm sorry, the father's Chris, right? Yeah, Chris was told that this divine feminine goddess thing, the lady, controls the Greys, and told him that she has the power to basically call them off. And I'm paraphrasing here. I highly recommend people go and check that episode out. But more or less, the impression that I got was he had a job to do, which was to go about and spread this divine feminine narrative. And he was shown, I believe, his family dead.
Whoa.
Yeah. This is what Fringe said on the show. So, and which is
That is right. Yeah.
and it made me feel
Like mob tactics, huh?
terrible. I felt terrible for the dude, because imagine the sensation of helplessness. The abduction phenomenon is anomalous and terrifying enough as it is, but then to have this actual interaction where there's a whole narrative unfolding, because a lot of time people don't really have a narrative. They just like, I remember this thing happened to me. Maybe they'll go through regressive hypnosis. They'll remember some more. This is like, no, dude, this thing tasked you with something, and it told you that it runs the Greys. It can make it all stop effectively if you go forth and you spread this message, or else, the implications are your family is dead. And then he comes back and he's like, the lady is actually Mother Mary, but also Hathor, but also, I imagine any number of things, Ishtar, Isis, you name it. And I'm left to wonder, like, how much of this do you actually believe, and how much of this are you willing to say so that your family doesn't die? And then you look at Ryan, like, think about it. That's your son, right? And he's like having very intimate encounters with this thing. He's coming away. And so it's like,
It's getting blapped up too.
getting blapped up. So, I mean, this is a nightmare. This is a nightmare. I mean, obviously your allegiance is with Christ, but like, I don't know what this guy's been subjected to. So
Also,
yeah,
I think a good question is, can this thing actually murder his family?
I don't know.
Like, does it have legal rights to do such a thing in the physical realm where we are?
And then maybe the question is, if it does, how many martyrs have had their heads cut off proclaiming Christ? You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah. So what? If it does, so what?
if it does, so what? Like, we're going to die. And if you die sticking to your guns and defending the kingdom of heaven, like, you're good, dude. You've got your spiritual gifts in the afterlife type of deal. But it does make you wonder, like, damn, because I just know that scenario is terrifying on its own without all the extra narrative of Hathor, the lady, Mother Mary, telling you that it controls the Greys and it can save you from this fate, which is your family dying. Wow. That's the worst shit ever. That's the
it's
worst
pretty bad.
shit ever, dude. Like,
Yeah.
so I
pretty
made fun
rough
of that
situation.
dude. I called, I did a whole episode where I just kept calling him Ryan Fatso, which is so childish, but it's just a silly name. But then after I talked to Fringe about it and I became aware of what his father, Chris, went through, I'm like, dude,
Like, oh, it's just a family of cucks.
I'm still going to make fun of you, but damn, dude, that's crazy.
Well, that's how us humans are manipulated, the most, is by our emotions, by what we see and whatever affects us on our senses. When you mentioned that, it made me think of the Avengers Endgame, right? And Tony Stark, in the beginning of the movie, he's recovering. He's been out in space for a very long time. He's malnourished, and he comes back. But he, I think in that movie, he ends up having like this dream where, it's one of the Avengers movies, but he has this vision, this dream, which kind of matches up with
Sees everybody dead.
sees everyone dead,
Yep.
right? And he's motivated to, honestly, when you get to the end game of things, he was so motivated by that, it it made him get all of the Infinity Stones or whatever, or fight that demiurge component, character, and it gave him the courage to sacrifice himself.
Whoa, spoilers! What the dude? That's crazy. No, yeah, I know.
The new movie?
The new one,
Yeah,
yeah.
but what's interesting is in the end game, right, where he kind of steals the gauntlet and he puts it on his hand and he snaps his fingers. I am Iron Man,
yeah, hits him with the big
right?
I am.
Well, he didn't get to that point until Captain Marvel helped him, by the way. So Captain Marvel, in my opinion, represents
Star of Ishtar on her
divine
chest.
feminine. Yeah, I think there's so much connected to the divine feminine that I almost think like it's Satan. It's just him working through the power of the air, right?
We talked
Of
to
some
JT
sort.
recently, and he was like, he thinks that this thing that presents as a woman, I mean, if you think about it within the context of the Statue of Liberty, which is a little bit of a gender bender, what's it? Not Adonis, Apollo, Mithras, Lucifer, like that kind of a deal, gender bent into Lady Liberty. And then you look at, I don't know, it does seem like I would agree the divine feminine, not that I want to give this bitch too much credit, seems to be like the major operative component of this great deception.
Mhm.
And right now I see us in the throes of all of these elements that are, you could file them away under the divine feminine, just the feminization of men, the rising of the masculinization. I think I might have made a word up there, but that was smooth enough.
That's fine.
Of women. And I mean, it's really obvious in pop culture where all the men are cucks. If you have a male that previously could have fit the strong lead kind of dichotomy, they're reduced to a bumbling piece of shit a-hole, and then the woman gets the job done. And I know that the audience is tired of hearing this example, but I think the greatest example lately has been Stranger Things, where it's all inverted, right? Who are we talking to? Wesley Roth, who did a really great job of laying out the argument that it was the Gnostic gospel. The demiurge is the mind flayer, and then Jesus, who is the embodiment, the physical avatar of God, is Vecna, and he has 12 disciples who he's putting his spirit into. This is like this big inversion on Christianity. In that, all the strong characters are. It starts off in the first season where it's like Hopper's kind of the man, he's running around doing a damn thing. Now it's Nancy, she's 87 pounds. She's got an M16. She goes to rack around by just slapping the top of the rifle. Like, it doesn't even make sense. Every chick in there is this unbelievable ass kicker. And then the one dude who gets a little bit of, time in the sun is a gay dude, which is the feminization of men, right? So you see this everywhere. It's to the point now, there's a whole movie genre. It's called I'm an 87-pound bitch and I'm going to kick the crap out of everybody. That is the worst movie genre to ever have come across. They even did it to John Wick, where it's like John Wick is awesome. And they're like, now that we got you locked in, we're going to give you the ballerina. You're like, the what? The ballerina? He's like, yeah, dude, she's going to kill everybody. We're like, okay, she's like the chick from Game of Thrones, right? Like the big blonde chick who's like 7 feet tall. And like, no, dude, she's 80 pounds and she's going to kill everybody. And you're going to shut the hell up and you're going to enjoy it. Like, it's the worst thing ever. So yeah, the whole divine feminine thing is everywhere. The symbolism is the whole 777 thing, or the 777 thing, the inverted triangle. There's all these images and symbols that are associated with it. You see them absolutely everywhere.
Well, I mean, he talks about in 2026 at some point there's to be this alignment, right? That's going to happen where the Sphinx is looking. I forget what star it actually is. It's usually blue off the horizon, but once it's in this certain alignment, it'll be red. And I think this is to happen on Easter of this year. This is to really bring in a whole new idea of gnosis, right? Like knowledge. He calls it knowledge, but really I think it's gnosis. But I think this is where the divine feminine aspect of this is going to
regulus
possibly be introduced. Like, and this is where I'm saying it. Have we been looking at this kind of the wrong way? Is disclosure really going to be humanity coming in tune with the divine feminine Sophia, this spirit that's going to help us come to enlightenment.
Well,
and, you know,
there's this question that I've been, because Satan inverts everything, right? That's the name of the game. And so I've seen people question, and I think these people are a little bit lost in this kind of like feminist crap. It's typically women that are asking this, but I do think it's a fair question to ask. I don't really have an apt answer for it, but the question is something like, if Satan inverts everything and there's a divine feminine right now, does that mean that there's a good feminine aspect out there that's been hidden from us? And it's like, I don't know. I mean, Mother Mary might be a good example of that, where, the mother of God, that's a beautiful thing. Like the woman who brought God embodied in the physical into this realm and nurtured and raised him, like, the caring, loving, empathetic mother model is hugely important. But I think once you start looking for it, then you start coming to places like, what the Catholic Church says, which is Mother Mary is co-redeemer alongside Jesus Christ. And you're like, okay, so I don't know. I don't know if there's a positive version out there or what that looks like. I don't know if that matters. I think it's like, there are things that are beyond our understanding. If you start trying to dig and look for like, where's the positive divine feminine, you're almost always going to uncover Ishtar. You're going to uncover this thing that is constantly masquerading. It's willing to present itself as Mother Mary. It's willing to present itself as some Pleiadian, whatever your flavor is, it'll adapt and it'll present as that. So it's like, I don't know, dude, maybe don't worry about that. Pick up your cross and follow Christ, because everything else is a slippery slope and you lack the understanding. You're not equipped enough to like parse out this deception.
So
Yeah.
I did want to.
She just did say shalom and that she was interested in giving you some money to promote a specific agenda.
Thank you.
We got the Jews to stay quiet, but we had to take their one of their tracks.
God, bro.
I wanted to bring up, this is an Ed Mabry point, Genesis 1-2, where it was like chaos was on the face of the deep and God came over and stilled the waters.
Yeah. Did you know that, by the way, Leviathan is like cruising around out in the ocean? You can see him on Google Maps.
I've heard.
Well, it's either Leviathan, or if you're of the pagan variety, it's Jorgenmeister. Wait, no. What's the big snake's name from Norse mythology? Jorgenmander, whatever. It's a big ass snake, and I saw it on Google Maps today, or Google Satellite.
You saw it on TikTok?
No. I went to Google, whatever it is, Earth.
Yeah.
And I found it, and I was like, it looks like a really big snake in the ocean.
Where is it? Is it by Greenland?
No, it's at the tip of South America, where South America is trying to touch Antarctica or whatever's down there.
Oh.
I'm geographically retarded, but it looks like a super big snake.
Okay, so
it's
anyway.
interesting.
Oh yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah,
Okay.
but it means nothing.
It
They
says
got him.
the earth was without form and void, and darkness was upon the face of the deep.
Tohu
and-
abohu, baby.
Well, tohu abohu would be form and void, but the face of the deep is teom. And Ed Mabry will tell you that teom, it's in the translation here, it's like, the depths, the deep, the abyss, but it's also for like it is a correlation to an actual entity.
Mhm.
Is
And-
it Tiamat?
It's actually a goddess. Yes.
Yeah, Tiamat. So when that's correlated with the water, which are chaotic, it gets my brain thinking to this like Jordan Peterson idea, where Jordan Peterson will talk about the yin and the yang, and he'll say something like, the yin and the yang, they both go together, but it's like masculine and feminine. It's chaos versus order. That's his first book. So the chaos would be correlated with the feminine, which we have here. These are the chaotic waters. So like this is the second verse of the Bible, where it's like, yeah, chaos. But if we're gonna compare that to the feminine, it is actually a very interesting idea, because it means it's always been there, and God has to come and
Beat its ass.
well,
A little
he has
domestic
to
violence.
restore order over it.
Yeah.
And it's also interesting when Jordan Peterson goes into the idea of order, because order can be, on the far end of it, it can be tyrannical. But on the even side, you have like this very fair masculinity, which is strong but firm.
Right.
And then things go well. Chaos is great too, because that's how you get birth. Women create like something out of nothing. It's really a chaotic thing, but it brings out this beauty. So you kind of do need that as well.
And then in the middle, it's like nurturing, caring. Like you need that. You can't just have the ruling kind of cold iron fist of dudes, where it's like strictly order. There has to be this this opposite side to it. But yeah, I guess, you know, it's the
Mhm.
same thing. If the masculine gets out of control, then it's tyranny, and it's you know, fascist state, whatever, that kind of a deal. And then if the chaotic feminine energy gets out of control, we're transing your kids,
It's communism.
it's communism.
Yes.
We're taking what you have and giving it to everyone, kind of a deal. So yeah, there has to be a balance. And I actually struggle with that, because I look at that balance thing and I'm like, is that real? Because when you look at like the yin and yang, and it's like darkness and light,
I don't think you should really have any of that in you. I just think it's the job of the male. Like God came over the waters, and he calmed them, and he stilled them. Like he kicked this thing's
he actually
ass.
came to this woman and said, calm down.
Yeah, God was like, calm down. And then she did.
Damn.
Yeah, so there's not like a mixing of like, oh, I'll give you a little bit. You could put a little bit of your dot in me. He was just like, no,
stop it.
Calm down. But
Yeah.
I'm also in control of myself, where I don't need to like overtake you.
Mm.
It's just a very firm stop.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
I find that whole story, because it really goes back to like I don't want people to take this the wrong way, but it goes back to the Babylonian creation epic, the Enuma Elish, right? Like Marduk versus Tiamat,
I was just
Oh,
saying, bring
sorry.
it. Yeah, bring
Yeah,
it a
my
little
bad.
bit. That's right.
right? Fist away.
Yeah,
right?
something like that.
Okay.
That's what Joe Rogan
So
says.
I think that this is something important to look at when we're trying to figure out what is this mystery Babylon,
Mm,
right?
mhm.
Well, what did the Babylonians believe? Well, they believed the Enuma Elish, and their creation story was about a war that took place before creation. It was between Marduk and Tiamat, Rahab, whatever, right? Like this dragon goddess entity, right? The primordial waters.
Yeah.
And Marduk being this this god that all the gods kind of supported to go have him go to battle, right? You know, he used a bow, an arrow, and wind, right? And so when I look at the Bible, I'm like, okay, well, who can be characterized with those things? And it's Satan, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Now, here's the thing, and this is such a mind f, dude. Sometimes it takes a lot of repetitions to fully understand what I'm probably going to say. But I think what the Babylonians did is they flipped the narrative. I think they put their God in God's position. They made Satan Marduk, okay, in a way to where I think that's going to show something also in the future where Satan tries to imitate God, right? So like and what happened, it shows Satan being the good guy, right? Which goes to where I think maybe even this could be where Gnosticism might have branched off from, right? Because
like they actually detected
it's about
something.
like this adversary, this enemy before creation, right? But the Bible says it's Satan, right? Lucifer, the devil. But in their eyes, I think that they put Satan in Marduk's position to show him to be God, right? It's kind of like what Isaiah says, right? I will be like the Most High. And then they make God the serpent, the dragon. They make God that position that Satan should be representing. You know what I'm saying? So if you look at it from like that Gnostic perspective, it's like kind of wild, because I think that when you look at it biblically, you're like, wait, why does the Enuma Elish parallel up with Genesis so perfectly, right? Everything Marduk did, God did, right? Like in creation. Like if you line it up, how he created man, all this kind of stuff, some things are not super compatible, but they're giving off the same expression. You know, it makes me feel like Satan took the identity of God, right? The Babylonians worshipped him in this way. Not saying they worshipped him the biblical way, right? But I'm saying they took that identity.
That's something that we see consistently, right? In all of these kind of like immaculate conception mythos is where there's, you know, this single son who is, you know, I guess basically the mirror of Christ, but not quite. You know, there's a lot of ways in which they line up, but it seems that the great detail that's absent is the idea that any of these deities came and died for your sins. to give you a way to redemption. Like that's absent from all these other ones. But you do have the Immaculate Conception mythos, or what have you. So there is a lot of counterfeit Christ characters. So it doesn't seem out of the realm that there would be attempts to counterfeit more of the story.
When you look at that kind of idea, and you look at the Seven Mountain Mandate, this charismatic movement, I don't think it's being I don't think they're like real Christians, man. I think they're actually pushing this counterfeit Christianity, which can line up with like what I'm saying, right? If like Babylon's being developed, then it's got to have a king, and I think they're trying to develop this king but make him look like the good guy.
Sure.
I think they're trying to make him look like he's the warrior and he's at war with this this evil, right? I think they're going to just blame that evil on the God of the Bible, right? That we're kind of like in chains, we're kind of like bond, we're in jail, and
well, that's a great Gnostic idea, is that this is a prison planet, right?
Yeah. And so when I'm thinking of that, I'm like, okay, well, when I look at the seals, the rider on the white horse, right, wearing a crown and has a bow, I was like, why does he have a bow? What is that doing? Is that symbolizing that this is maybe militaristic, right? Like this is more of him on a military martial campaign, and he's going out conquering and to conquer, or is like the writer kind of throwing that in there because they knew about Marduk, they knew about that's just what it was in the times then, and did they throw that in there to kind of hint like, hey, this rider on the white horse is known as the Antichrist, and he's got a bow. It's like Marduk had a bow, right? This is how he defeated the adversary. And so there may be like this narrative where the divine feminine is trying to connect with mankind to help mankind enlighten themselves, which would be the direction of breaking out of this prison, right? And I think that's like the false gospel. I think that's this thing that's really taking off, and people are eating it up like candy. Now, the thing is like, I don't, did you guys ever see the Dubai? It was this year, but Dubai's New Year's Eve celebration.
Oh, something happened. Was it with the ball drop, or a ball didn't drop, or was that New York?
It was in Dubai, and it was the, what is it? The Burj, what is it called? The Burj Khalifa. Is that the building there? I don't know.
Oh, good luck. Yeah. You doing the tallest building in the world.
Tallest building in the world, right? Here, let me see if I could send you this, because this is pretty interesting.
This is their New Year's.
The Burj Khalifa. I have it right here.
New Year's celebration.
Top, I'm going to send you something here.
I guess it would have been 2026.
Let me see if I can copy this and text this to you. So yeah, they did the New Year's drop, right? And it was expressed on the building, and
they did a drone show.
No, it wasn't a drone show. It's more like a fireworks show off the building.
I'm seeing images of it here. Yeah.
Oh, I have it pulled up right here. Is this it?
Let me see what we got. Yeah. Yeah. That's a picture of it. Yeah.
That's so crazy.
There's a video here. I just sent to you. If you could play this video, it's only like maybe 35 or 40 seconds until like you start to see what I want you to notice. But I want to get your guys' take on this, and then I'll give you my breakdown. After this, we got to break down the Disclosure Day trailer. Have you broke that down yet?
No, I actually haven't watched the Disclosure Day. When is that? March?
It's the most.
It's in April.
It's like one of the most emotional pulling trailers I've ever seen.
Really?
Oh yeah. There's a mantra that plays through it, by the way, which actually like brings you into this emotional view of the trailer.
That's interesting. I want to say, because I want to watch that, and we're not streaming on YouTube, so we won't get pulled, but we're gonna have to cut that part out. I would like to watch it though. Can we do that? And then like when we release it, we'll just
can we
just
watch it
off
air?
Yeah.
Like I'll pull it up here, and then they'll have to just guess what we're watching.
Yeah, that's fine. We can do that.
You could probably mute it, right, and not get in trouble.
No, we'll just pull it off air, and that way,
gotcha.
And then we'll
check
watch
this
and
out.
comment on it. So this is the New Year's
you gotta
celebration.
rewind it all the way from the beginning. See the helix circling the building?
Yeah, the spiral going up.
What's that look like?
Oh yeah, it looks like a DNA strand.
Yep.
DNA strand with a halo above
Well,
it.
there's a crown chakra at the top too. I don't think a lot of people like spot.
Yep.
And I
Oh, is
counted
it-
it, and there's seven areas on the building that explode, which really like you kind of have like 7 main.
The fuck is
chakras.
that?
So
They
is this
talk about-
the what is it
Look at
called?
it! Look! Who is it? Who's that?
Is that the lady? Why is she? Yeah, like what reason would there be this woman? She
There's a dragon.
is this supposed to be like the Sephiroth, or like the sort of Kabbalistic tree of? I guess is it the Kabbalistic tree of life?
Oh yeah, it's the same thing as the Freemason stairway to heaven. Everything kind of like starting from the ground, working its way up. But here, like you can, it's just constant motion.
There is
going
images
down.
too. There's like a flying eagle. It's hard to see because the banner's in the way, but like they're casting an image. Is that a eagle or an angel? Oh, it just shot up into the air. They're projecting like all sorts of images onto this the building
Obelisk.
itself. This obelisk.
Yeah, you're
That
right.
looks like, is that a bird or is that an angel? I think it's a bird. Look, it keeps rising up through the building along with it's honestly fantastic.
It is
I got to
fantastic,
admit,
though.
look, that looks
Yeah.
like a veil just opened.
But what this video doesn't really show you is like they did like a ceremony at the same time.
This is interesting because
the
like
ground.
it looks like a portal at the top, and then the images that they're showing of the building are like these stars falling out of it. Pull it back like 10 seconds, top, and just look at this. Like it looks maybe like 15 seconds now.
Wow, they really.
So a little bit more, actually. I'm sorry, another like 10 seconds. Yeah, you see how
Yeah.
it looks like it would have stopped or, Yeah, there you go.
you
Looks like a portal and these things dropping out of it.
Mm.
That's fantastic. Man, these guys crush.
Well, too, look, like this kind of resembles like a Tower of Babel. in
Oh,
my
100%.
opinion, too.
Yeah, with a portal at the top. You know,
Yeah.
if you subscribe to that idea that the Tower of Babel was sort of a gateway.
I think the Tower of Babel was some sort of piece of technology that actually.
What the hell was that?
What the heck was that?
What
Wait a
just,
second.
what just flew across the screen?
You saw that, right? Yo,
What
bro!
What is that?
What the?
What was that?
Oh,
A moon is a big divine feminine symbol too.
Look at that,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Right?
Hold on, what was that? A UFO?
All right, I guess we have to go back. 'cause
Am
now
I
I'm gonna make that-
tripping?
No, that
Chat,
was crazy.
Is this real?
Chat, is that real?
Bro,
Is it a drone that's just sitting still and it's actually the camera that's
dude,
like,
I don't
I
know.
don't know. But
I don't know
that's
what
hilarious.
is that. Is that a reflection on the lens? Why is
No.
nothing else reflecting on the lens? What the fuck is going on?
All right, last time we're gonna look at that. That's yeah. What the hell
That's
shoots
funny.
across it?
And look how fast it's covering ground,
What the hell, man?
bro.
No problem. They're like, hey, switch scenes,
Anyway,
switch
Yeah,
angles.
But what I think they're kind of showing you is that like this divine, if we're looking at that as the Tower of Babel, right?
Yeah.
And at least from my view, I think it had something to do with technology and of the metaphysical science, right? And what's interesting is the divine feminine is actually a part of all of this.
yeah,
So I think
yeah. You've got the moon symbolism. You've
Yeah.
got her floating around in her scarlet dress.
yeah.
Man,
Well, I think
look, now it's a tree. It
This
is.
goes
It's
on
like the
for-
Sephiroth.
They
it
do
goes
it
on for
10
a
minutes?
minute, yeah.
Dude,
That is
Oh, it's a whole
crazy.
show.
They
dude.
go hard, huh? I love how like this 2026 we see a UFO and we're like that was 10
No,
seconds.
I think
of,
that's representing like balance. You got blue and
Blue and
pink,
reds.
right? And so
it's a trans flag. But it's just wild because we saw something and we go that's fantastic and then it's just moving on.
Logistically, how do you get this much explosives into a building?
Well,
Yeah, how's there no fire?
I think thermite probably plays you got to paint the support beams and if you cut them at the base, it really helps. Man, that was crazy. How do you get this many explosives in a building? That was crazy. And they got and then what else is present? It's a UFO. So it's all of the aspects of the divine feminine are that's really what it was.
I feel like I have to check the
golly.
comments. Nobody else is
No,
seeing
of
that.
course not. They're all speaking Dubaianese.
Oh yeah, somebody goes UFO. See that?
Yeah, there you go.
What the hell, man?
That was crazy.
So I'm wondering if like artificial intelligence, its purpose is to serve as a medium to house this, this divine feminine spirit. And the only reason why I think that could be a possibility is because when you look at the movie I, Robot with Will Smith,
Yeah.
right?
Great movie.
It's about this movie where robots basically are subordinate to humans and they serve humanity. There's most likely a universal income. People are more or less in their homes. And, there's this artificial intelligence that runs these robots, but the artificial intelligence in the movie is actually a woman. It's a divine feminine, in my opinion. And in the movie, her name is Vicky. And
Damn, dude, spoil with the spoilers. He's just
so I think that maybe what artificial intelligence, what its potential is to possibly house this universal energy that all the alchemists, all the occultists, everyone's very fascinated by this force, this energy, this ether, right? Quintessence or black goo. I don't, whatever you want to call it,
Right.
dude. There's something behind it. And I think
the
that
dark energy kind of a deal.
I just think AI can give it, it can give it that vessel.
Well, it is interesting you should say that because we do a lot of, like Alexa or Siri, I don't even want to say it like because my phone's going to light up if I say this bitch's name. But you know what I'm saying? It's like we do that. We keep giving them, and then like, even with the Apple one, it's like the Sirius star, like the dog star, like there's a lot of weird astrological significance sometimes to these names that we're giving it, and it has this feminine voice, and it's like we're getting very accustomed to having the voice of artificial intelligence be feminine.
Mm-hmm.
You have to actually go, the default is a feminine voice. We don't really, my son was, he asked us every once in a while, he's like, can I get this app? And one of them was like a video game designer. And I look at it and it's rated, everything's cool. And so we get it and we mess around with it. And it's kind of a little bit cheap, really. What it is you're asking AI, you're telling AI like the elements that you want to see in this video game. And then AI goes like, okay. And then it cranks out like a really, really simple, like a rudimentary bare bones video game, if you could even call it that. And it'll be like sprites that have no characteristics whatsoever. It's just like a dot, but the dot will be named whatever you wanted it to be named, So it's interesting. I go, okay, that could kind of be cool. Might inspire him to get into this idea of like how to code and and then I find out like the very next day that there's a thing in there where you could just go, like any chat GPT will do this too. Speak to me from the point of view of this character. And he's picking like the Stranger Things characters. And now it's only 24 hours later. And I realize he's messaging fake Dustin, fake Hopper, fake 11. And I'm going, oh no, dude. like we deleted that immediately. But I'm like, you can't sit here and have prolonged conversations with fake versions of Stranger Things characters that are all just controlled by AI.
My kids figured out how to make Alexa fart. They love it.
That's a good use of AI.
Yeah, it's just
that's awesome. Not what my son was doing. He was like, oh, they're like my friends. I'm like, no, dude. He didn't say that, but I was like, these are not your friends. Like, these are not real people. You can't do this. You can't have these conversations. But yeah, it is. It seems that it always has this feminine bent. And you can kind of dismiss that as like, well, feels less intrusive. If I'm going to be like, yo, Alexa, and it's like, what's up, dog? I'm like, no. We can't. We're not doing that. If you're a woman, at least, maybe let your guard down a little bit. But also, is that great? Maybe that's a little bit of a slipperier slope than you're willing to entertain. So yeah, it does seem to be a pattern.
I've had a guy on the show, Jamie Walden. It'd be a pretty cool guest to have on your platform. He gets into, first of all, his background's extraordinary. He's a firefighter, police officer, maybe military police as well. But he was, in some forces, right, in the military. And he talks about that there's been some experiences in the field with people that have come across technology, undisclosed technology, and that some of them have had all very similar experiences, by the way, but they have this experience where they've been connected with this loving feeling, this nurturing, sensual feeling that they almost feel like they're in the presence of God, right? Which is interesting because
It's a Jake Barber thing.
You know, what kind of technology do they have out there that they may be working on that has the capabilities of connecting to some sort of force, right? Like, or I think the force, it has something to do with the divine feminine, right? I think it's in a way. What I mean by force, it's like Star Wars, man. Like, these guys are able to manipulate this life force that, which kind of has a lot of connections to the darkness, and this is why occultists really are. They're really just infatuated with the darkness. They think the darkness holds the power for creation. You know, without the darkness, you wouldn't have the light, and then you wouldn't have creation. So I think a lot of the components of how life developed is in this darkness. I think that's what CERN's working on. I think what they're trying to do, I don't think this is what they're trying to do. They're actually throwing particles at almost the speed of light, and they're smashing them together. And a lot of people really don't understand, like, why are they smashing these things together? Well, they're actually smashing them together because as the fragmentations and the particles start to break up, they can actually see more detail that's within, right? The what's taking place. It's almost like if a caveman came across a piece of pottery, right, with very unique designs on it. I think the caveman's most likely at first going to just break it. And when he breaks it, he's actually starting to see how he can put it back together.
Right.
And then in this process, he can recreate this. He can now go and, create it out of his imagination because he's got it now.
It's like it's a rudimentary version of reverse engineering.
Yeah. So I'm wondering if, CERN being connected to ancient Kabbalah, right? You'll even have quantum physicists telling you that this is Kabbalah, right? And I think they're really trying to figure out that life force, which has a connection to the divine feminine. And I think this is the thing too. I think the Antichrist will be unionized with this. Again, I know I've been kind of all over the place with the divine feminine, AI, whatever, but just throw it all in the same bag. I think that the Antichrist rides the Whore of Babylon rides the beast, right? And there's like this mystery religion behind all of this. I think the Antichrist is going to be able to, the Maitreya, right? This world teacher, this leader that's going to lead us into this gnosis, right? Is actually manipulating it, is working with this force. How else are the miracles? How else is the Antichrist going to try and counterfeit the miracles that Christ did? He's going to try and use some sort of power, right?
This was something that I was going
not to interrupt, but I saw something very interesting the other day. It's the Kabbalistic tree of life as you go up the Sephiroth, and the hopscotch board as a kid. Isn't that very interesting? It's the same.
That's so upsetting.
It's very upsetting. It's the same sort of diagram though, but that's kind of the game.
1 1 2 1 2 1 2.
And obviously there's variation,
identical.
but that is, from what I remember seeing kids play that is what it is, and that is the diagram. So it's like
it's the same thing with the S, like the legendary S that we all used to make in middle school and everything.
Was that a representation of the Kabbalistic tree of life as well?
People were showing it overlaid, and it's like it is the same shape and the same points. I don't know. It is
makes you wonder.
It does make you wonder. And then you show up here and Matt's got him in the fridge.
So the Disclosure Day trailer is wild, man. I can't believe you haven't seen it,
dude. I would love.
I haven't seen it on purpose.
I would love to watch it. We should do something where because I kind of want our Patreon members to see it.
Okay, so let's do that, and then just put more work for me.
Yeah, we'll just cut it out. We'll just cut it out. You know what I mean?
He's the best, though. He's the best.
I really want to see this because do you want me to pull it up?
I got it. Okay, I got it here.
I haven't looked at this at all, and obviously Spielberg is a fascinating character when it comes to all this shit, and I will be seeing this film. I hope it's good for all the negative things that I'm sure it's going to usher in, like the Antichrist.
I think Spielberg knows way more than
hell yeah
he
does,
for.
dog.
I think he's involved in societies where this information is well known.
All right, well let's
now, before you start this, they actually say that in this movie, Spielberg is the way they're going to throw a piece of disclosure in this, right? And it's, again, it connects with that pendulum swing of the government narrative, that
I'm excited.
Oh man, I lost what I was going to thought. Dang.
Yeah, that
Well,
happens to me all the time.
so
Don't worry about it.
I think that I'm trying to get it back, but anyways, we'll roll it. We'll
Yeah,
roll it.
let's-
It'll come back. It'll come back.
I'm excited for this. This is I hope this is good.
Here we go.
Got it.
We
got it, baby.
I knew it was
We
gonna
got
be.
it.
All
We're
right.
back, we're
So
back.
so the guy with Area 52 podcast, right?
Who's got Area 52 podcast?
This I don't know. He's a cool guy,
Okay.
but super kind of like esoteric.
All right.
But it seems like he could be a plant. I don't know.
Oh,
man.
I think
All
I
of a
know who
sudden
you're
you get a
talking about.
studio that's like looks like this.
It looks like a spaceship, right?
It's like a spaceship. Well, it looks like a
Oh,
debriefing room from
I
like
thought
the
that was-
60s or something.
I thought that was the guy who American Alchemist.
That dude, that's cool.
That
man. Like,
dude also,
it
I
has
feel
the
like-
glass, and he's like looking into the studio.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, very
Yes.
great.
This dude right here,
Yeah.
Chris Ramsey. Huh.
We need some glass here.
We should. You know what we should do? Just cut a big window and put a glass panel on there.
Soundproof glass, and
So
just look at
they'll
him.
bang on it. Look, can you keep it down?
Sorry,
he,
can't hear you.
he brought up on a podcast where and this is like talk of the town here, because the movie Disclosure Day, its first title, they changed the title 3 times, I think 10 days within actually releasing the trailer. The title was initially called The Dish,
That was the name of Disclosure Day.
right? But
That's
if you
yeah, but that's still a shit ass name compared to Disclosure Day.
Yeah, so I think they changed it for the right reasons.
The
right? It
dish sounds
more-
like a like
Sounds
a
like
cooking.
a girl's like a gossip show or something. like that.
The dish. I gotta serve you the dish. Yeah,
Yeah.
it does. It sounds like a gossip show.
And the guy on Area 52 podcast was saying that the purpose with that title was because Spielberg, with the connections that he has and the government and all that kind of stuff, that they were actually going to prop a real UFO in this movie and not tell the actors about it, not tell anyone about it, right? And just get people to be
That'd be some shit.
just in some sort of way okay with this event, right, during the movie, and people would have a soft disclosure while eating popcorn, not even thinking anything about it.
All those actors would die from cancer.
Yeah, from exposure. Well, that's like.
Right.
Did you hear about the steel orb, like the metallic orb with all the symbolism on it? Metallic orb symbols. So this thing gets released, and I think it's this right here. This is on World Star. I don't know if I'm going to be able to here. Let's put this on the thing. I'll open it up, make it big, and share this tab instead. So this right here, scientists stunned after mysterious UFO sphere falls from sky in Colombia. And this is metallic sphere, and it's got all these, symbols on it. In the middle, it looks like a motherboard, like a chip with a bunch of like, I don't know, tendrils kind of coming off of it. And then, it's got a pentagram shaped star around it. But the only reason I bring it up is because this thing could very well be real. And it almost just doesn't matter at this stage in the game because you could fake so much crap. And I don't know, it just looks like any run-of-the-mill movie prop. You could have made this as a movie prop. And people will say, well, actually the symbols on it are quite deep and esoteric. And it's like, yeah, but we do this crap all the time, right? I mean, you get the right creators that are part of a movie prop, studio, and they're going to make something that's pretty damn convincing. So I just find it funny that you could do that. You could embed a whole craft on a set of a Spielberg film, and nobody would be any wiser until they all died of ass cancer, I guess, would be the whole, that would be it.
What is the real difference between that and like, my aunt and uncle who saw this real craft?
Yeah.
I was just on that block, and I was looking around the area of where they saw it, where they're describing it to me. And it's like, if that thing took up, so this is on Cropsey Avenue in like right outside of Coney Island. And they used to live there, and they had a balcony that overlooked. It's one of those things where this thing flew up, and they noticed it because it was like gleaming, and they both went out to the balcony and they looked at it. And before they could really say anything, it just darted off, but it's in the newspaper the next day and people are writing all about it. I'm just like, yeah. So if they're putting it in the general public, that was like, I don't know, 30 years ago.
Yeah.
Why not in the movie? Who
30 years
cares?
ago in Elizabeth, my grandmother, the one who was an abductee victim, and her brother is my Uncle Mac, guy that taught me welding and everything, worked in aerospace. And they saw one, he said it was the size of a city block.
Yep.
Just above their heads. And he said it was at night, I think. So it was like initially, but it was like really silent. And that's what made them like, what the hell's going on? Like it was really silent. Like everything was really silent.
Mhm.
And then, they look up and there's this thing above them. Says he can't even see the edges of it. And he says he could see the surface of it though, and it looks like nothing that anybody's made. No rivets, no seams, no welds, no nothing that he can see, and nothing that he thinks anybody was capable of making. Like he's like, no other government made this thing.
It's crazy.
Yeah,
That's crazy.
All right, let's check out this disclosure date.
I'm excited about it.
I know.
Let's go.
Oh man.
What's gonna happen here?
Here we go.
All right.
If you found out we weren't alone, if someone showed you, proved it to you,
There's religion.
Yeah. Why? What's up with the cross?
Okay, you got the card. Wait, go back even because dude, they're already blapping us up with symbolism. The
Yo, it's
wallpaper.
nuts, dude.
So
I
this
can't
reminds
believe
me
you haven't
of
seen this.
what's the Obama show, the Obama movie that came out. Leave the World Behind.
Yes.
Yeah.
Leave the World Behind. You've got some weird issue with all the animals. They're no longer running from people. In fact, they're congregating. Go to the next
They're
scene.
delivering the message.
And then her
someone
wallpaper is
showed you,
monarch butterflies, and I think
proved it to
crescent
you.
moons.
Yeah.
Oh no, just monarch butterflies. So of course, yeah, you've got the
Right,
Project
right,
Monarch,
right.
right? Hemi syncing.
Nice little cube there.
Yeah,
as
little
well.
cube.
It
for
almost
that
made
ass.
me think of like Tesseract kind of type deal. Or
Look,
whatever.
she's got the abnormally wide eyes too.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's a great observation that I think we made. The predator eyes.
Yeah, where women are embracing
prey eyes.
victimhood to the extent that their eyes are migrating to the sides of her head like prey animals. But this is interesting. I mean, yeah, I don't think she's got a weird forehead and eyes, doesn't she?
Yeah. Well, here, check this out. Right.
I don't mean to
So,
dunk on this little girl, but
We're 2 seconds in and we're like,
look at this
know.
little.
But hey, in a lot of meditation experiences involving a white stag and Mary Magdalene often center on themes of divine feminine.
Yeah,
So
there you go.
people have these meditation experiences where they see this deer. Obviously, the one in the movie is not white, but it definitely looks exactly
stag,
like
that's
the
for sure.
stag. That it's basically some sort of way. It's a divine feminine. Some have had Mary Magdalene. Some people have had others, but it's basically to symbolize other world, right?
Fascinating.
And it also is in a spiritual like awakening knowledge.
Mhm.
So
well,
Gnostic up and down in this thing.
Princess Mononoke does express that as well. With the guardian of the forest, it's a huge stag, and that's like the entity that keeps this forest in coalescence with itself. But somebody hunted it. Interesting. And that movie won a bunch of Grammys as well, and it's an anime. Riddled. We should watch that. It's riddled with.
I would like
symbolism.
to. We should start watching more stuff. All right, I would like to. We should pirate it when it comes out and watch it with our Patreon.
So that's pretty much it.
The goddamn rat raccoon.
You know what's interesting about the language like that she's speaking? I've watched some of Bashan. I don't know if you guys know who exactly that guy is or the audience, but he's this guy who's been channeling this entity for years now.
Which
It might
entity?
be
Does he have a name for it?
I forget the name, but if anyone knows it, throw it in there. Because what he does before he gets into like this trance and he starts like doing these weird movements, but he also starts making some of these clicking noises. Like he'll start doing clicking noises. He'll start like kind of like jittering his teeth and stuff, or like
What's this dude's name?
constantly
Bashan?
biting down so it sounds like a click. But yeah, this guy, yeah, that's the guy right
Oh, this
there.
is the guy,
Yeah, that's the
Bashar.
guy. Bashar, okay, Bashar.
Messages from Bashar, the extraterrestrial, and he is channeling maybe something called Gaia, which honestly, a lot of this sounds exactly like what, the Galactic Federation of Light, or the Gaia, Gaia something. I forget what it was. It's very, very much the same thing. Gaia being like Earth, and this Earth spirit, this Mother Earth spirit. But from that, maybe it's Project Gaia. I forget what the hell it is. Either way, this thing is communicating through people.
Oh, this guy like means it here.
He means it.
He's calling a date 2027.
He's doing a little
Yep.
date.
He's got
set too.
T-shirts.
Well, you know who else calls 2027 is the CIA, but what's that guy? Is it John Ramirez? He's this Asian guy who hit podcasts back in like 2018 to like 2021, and then all of a sudden he hasn't really been going on podcasts. I think it's because the CIA actually like pulled him back a little bit, but he was giving disclosure information about 2027.
I love this. Is so fun. This is exactly Galactic Federation of Light shit. So Bashar is a channeled multidimensional extraterrestrial entity from the future, communicated through channeler Daryl Anka. who provides metaphysical insights.
That's what I was confused. Like, is it
his name
Bashar or
is
Daryl? It's just
Daryl's the
Daryl.
dude. Yeah, it's just
The name
Daryl.
of his channel is Bashar, channeled by Daryl.
Yeah, Daryl in his waking
This
life
guy-
is a greeter at Walmart, but in his evening
It's
pursuits,
so crazy. It's like, I am an all-knowing entity, but can you please make this YouTube channel for me?
because I don't know how
have
to
fingers.
do it. Yeah, it's like, but you
How do I
you
open
exist within
PDF?
frequency? You can't. No, I can't. Extraterrestrial being from the civilization in the future, about 3,000 years in the future, offering guidance from a higher dimensional perspective. Yeah, this is all like, on par, Galactic Federation of Light, guiding humanity so that we can ascend. We got to overcome the demonic forces or satanic forces that are, keeping us down, the man. And then we can ascend and take our place among this Galactic Federation, which it surely is a composite of, insectoids, Pleiadians, whatever. I'm sure there's a couple of cool reptilians in there. But yeah, and it always comes through way of channeling. This is my real issue with David Icke, because people get upset with me. They see me on Twitter and I make fun of David Icke, and I never provide any
Context.
Nope. I just go, you suck, dude. And then people are like, why? He's led the way. And I'm like, because for whatever reason, he cannot entertain the idea that the things that he channeled used and deceived him.
Yeah.
It's like a real simple, fundamental thing to explore. Is like, I'm not saying David Icke didn't have a stroke and then like get a download and get possessed and all this other crap. And I'm not saying that the information that he's getting isn't being conveyed by him exactly as it appeared to him. You know what I'm saying? Like, these things are telling him a thing, he's conveying it. I think you're probably dead on. I think you're probably doing a real good job, David Icke, of conveying that information. And I think you've probably added a lot of true facts to this whole thing to help us, kind of understand it. But it's that 9 truths and 1 fundamental lie. And you never stop to think, like, did these things lie to me? Did they tell me that I was their special boy because I would fall for that? And I think that's exactly what David Icke's thing is. And that's what these channelers fall
There's
for
an
all the
interesting
time.
correlation, right, between David Icke and Dylan, who we had yesterday. He was going down like this Gnostic rabbit hole, and David Icke is one of the people that he mentioned that he was listening to, along with a couple other people. One of this guy's name was like John Lamb.
Yeah.
John Lamb Gash, John Gash Lamb, whatever.
Gash is a harsh name.
Yeah. And then there were these other dudes who were like mathematicians as well. Very smart guys, but they kind of all went down this weird rabbit hole, lost their minds.
Yep.
One of them ended up committing suicide. The other guy is like off the grid now. That guy, John Lamb, is into some other weird stuff, but he's also, so yeah, when people seem to go down this rabbit hole, it's, I don't know, David Icke puts them there.
Yeah.
Like, it's like you find David Icke and then you end up at those dudes and then extrapolate from that what you'd like. But that's kind of the pathway there.
By the way, Nancy just reminded us that Dan Farah, who's the director of the Age of Disclosure, which if you watch Age of Disclosure, that little propaganda piece there, it does have kind of triumphant hero's journey, Avengers vibes. Like, it's a little bit more transcendent than your average, documentary.
He's an acolyte of Steven Spielberg.
Yeah, he served as a producer for Disclosure Day. So these things are working in tandem.
Yes.
You're getting the jab from Age of Disclosure, and then you're getting the big right straight for Disclosure Day that's coming up, which I will watch, and I'll be resistant to the propaganda, but it actually looks like it's going to be fun. It looks like it's going to be fun.
Dude.
Yeah, I hope
good.
so.
What are your guys' thoughts when Bledsoe talks about when he's had his intervention or whatever it is with this divine feminine, that she tells him that basically tells him the story of the alignment, right? These are things going to get set in motion, but he was also given another vision where basically Iran and Israel start fighting, start sending missiles to both sides, and that this is the impact moment where the revealing of these things will display themselves to the world. He's talking about orbs coming out of the ocean, orbs coming out of everywhere.
Yeah.
And this is going to harmonize people to kind of just like put their weapons down, where, man, we really don't have it figured out. Right. And then maybe humanity will have this experience, but then now it's tickled our curiosity so much to where we pursue it. Right. And so,
Well, I mean, do we have to pursue it, or do we have to be grateful for the intervention, of some higher intelligence on behalf of a bunch of midwits who were this close to destroying themselves?
Mhm.
Thank you. Well, so, this, what it sounds like, Top. It sounds like, what's Homeboy's name with the probability machine? The AIs that scrapes data off the internet.
Cliff High.
Cliff High. Yeah. So Cliff High, when I became aware of him, it was shortly after he, one of his predictions that his webbot made back in 2009 finally came to fruition. And that was the Joe Rogan and Donald Trump podcast. He had this set of predictions. It was like this probability machine. It scrapes data off the internet, spit out a set of likelihoods that were going to take place at some point. And it was like a prerequisite to a bunch of other events happening. If this thing happens, then a bunch of other events happen. And the thing that it was describing, it's using like keywords and phrases, and he kind of pieced it together. It seems like some sort of large scale conversation between, and he used some remote viewers to flesh it out, Donald Trump and Joe Rogan, which was weird because at the time, 2009, that's not, that's like the infancy of the Joe Rogan experience, and Trump's
Right.
not even on the radar for presidency or anything of that nature. Unless you're reading, the Ingersoll Lockwood books or some shit like that. But so once that happens, that was a precursor to a series of events. And those series of events were described as a bunch of extraterrestrial orbs and drones and things in the sky happening that were going to be seen by the world. And then after that, we were going to basically get some form of alien disclosure. And I'm screwing it up a little bit. But one of the things in his data set was a set of jets will depart from Israel
Mm-hmm.
en route to Iran. 4 would turn back. 3 would make it past Iran's defenses. 2 of them would successfully bomb a nuclear facility. And that nuclear facility, the fallout would screw up like a fifth of the planet or something like that, which would cause all the world's nations to turn on Israel. So
okay. Yeah.
the fact that you're saying, Bledsoe said this, right?
Right.
Alien intervention in a nuclear combat scenario between Iran and Israel, same, but slightly different, but still the same. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Oh,
it's pretty damn, that shit nearly rhymes. So
I'm looking forward to actually the next episode where we have Douglas Hamp on, and that's kind of what his next book is about. It's about like this geopolitical stance from Israel and what's happening there, how that correlates with the end time. There's a lot of stuff into that, so I'm interested to see what he's gonna
that is
say.
fascinating.
Did you see the guy? He's like this rabbi. He Jew, right? He went on a podcast and he started to kind of give an official narrative to the public about the tunnels in New York City.
Oh,
You caught this?
No.
what is he
Okay,
doing?
so-
Damage control?
And he's just and
A little
again,
late.
Yeah. So he comes
Took him that
out
long to think of something.
and he's questioned by the hosts, and so what he says is that there's many different styles of rituals that they perform, right? And so what they do down in the tunnels is they do a lot of rituals down there. And again, who knows if this is like true, but sounds pretty close to what we'll see in Revelation. And takes people down there that are already dead, right? Which in my mind, I'm like, how can you even do that?
Wait,
right?
are you sure that this is legit? Because you
It's kind of
remember
like a joke.
Yeah, we had there goes the neighborhood.
Yeah.
Was it 2 people interviewing this guy?
I think so.
Okay, yeah.
Wait.
Is this-
got
all
him.
right. So what happened?
It
Is
might
this
have got,
fake?
it might have
Is this
got
AI?
viral. No, it's not AI. It's our friends.
gosh.
I don't know if it's the same thing that you're thinking of, but yeah,
I'll let you know right now, dude, if you bring up a picture.
did it say 9/11 is gay in the background?
You didn't catch it. Wait a minute.
No, if anything, I didn't catch that. That would
That would have
I
stuck
remember
out
that.
like a
Was
sore
it these
thumb.
guys? Was it that guy and this girl?
You got to find
I
the
don't,
episode.
I don't think so.
It was like their coming out thing. Like they were really new and they were crushing it, and they really nailed the virality of this whole thing. But it was
Although I think I did see something like what you're talking about,
which
and
is
it's
really funny because what I'm
separately.
wondering is, did they make a joke that was stupid over the target, or did they make a joke with a guy who actually, you know what I'm saying, like a guy that actually had real information? But this podcast is just so funny.
Did they reference the Tibetan Book of the Dead?
No. Oh, wait. Yes, they
Okay,
did.
good. They got
They
you.
did.
Did they get him? Is that not real? I don't know if it's not real. There Goes the Neighborhood is the name of the podcast.
Shout out,
right?
There Goes the Neighborhood. Yeah,
Goes
we need more stuff like that though.
Yeah.
Out there just mixing it up, because who knows what these guys were doing in these tunnels.
Jew tunnels.
I mean,
gotta show you.
allegedly, they're trying to bring in the spirit of their Messiah through the dead.
I think.
Well-
I think you saw this video, which was a great video, and you know what? I would have.
That's him, dude.
That's
That's
it.
him.
That's our boy.
Streets of the city
So good.
of what looks like a Jew coming out of a sewer grate. If you want to just play this and then you kind of explain
I
it.
love these
This
guys.
is
Yeah,
old,
let's play
this is
this
old.
for our audience.
Okay, it's old. Okay.
So it's a sidewalk on Brooklyn, and it looks like
I love these dudes are so
a
funny.
member of the
this
synagogue's
dude in
coming
this
out of the
video.
ground.
And like
He kinda,
that
like,
person,
looks
his
around, he's
name
like,
is
"Damn, I'm not
Celeb
supposed to be seen."
Finkelstein.
Oh, you
Well,
know
that's a
him.
real video.
Wow. So
Yeah,
he-
this is, they get like a
you
New
guys are
York Jew.
friends, or
Yes, I mean, I would say just not
Yeah,
friends,
it says
members of
9/11 is-
the synagogue.
oh, so he's been going to.
Right. So in this
See, but this
clip,
guy though, like,
I don't know where they find these guys, but I got these guys on tinfoil hat, and I just basically told them, like, I was like, just play along. They're gonna say crazy shit
yeah.
and just feed it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, because all right, when you listen to that guy, right, like that little Jewish dude, he's like, is this guy an actor? Because it seems like he's speaking genuinely, but he doesn't understand the situation that he's in. Because they play. I wish I remembered their names. But they play. I think his name is Anthony.
He plays like a Howard Stern character
And
almost.
it's so good where it's like, he's an eccentric looking character, but this is New York City, right? And so you're there for an interview. And this guy, he does like this deadpan, like the way
I
that he
almost
asks
feel bad
questions.
saying it, because like he didn't break kayfabe the entire interview.
That's
with
what I'm
us.
saying.
It was fantastic.
I had to pick up on it real quick. Like for a second, we were like,
yeah, for
"What's going-
5 minutes, we were like, come on, like,
what's going on?
and then we're
here?"
like, oh, he's gonna just. So we just played along for like 2 hours.
People loved and hated that episode because it was so new in the show's development, and they were used to one thing where we're like asking these questions and trying to draw out information, and then all of a sudden we're sitting across from some really fun, silly
It
geese.
was like,
And,
George Floyd's a robot. It was
and
like,
he's
yeah,
just
he's a
not
robot.
dropping this kayfabe at all. And then so we decided, we're like, all right, kayfabe for 2 hours. Let's go. And some of the people in the audience were like, what the hell was that? Other people thought it was the greatest shit ever. Those guys are really great. And honestly, to your point, Steven, I'm watching that clip and I'm still not sure.
Yo, dude, maybe. Why is there blood on the mattress? There's no good reason for
Well,
it.
I had a listener reach out to me through email, and she gave me her experience when she went to Israel. And when she went to Israel, she's connected through families to very important people in that area, and she saw that a lot. Well, she didn't see, but she was told basically that Freemasons are doing things under the Temple Mount, and they're working through the very ancient tunnel systems that are in that area, which they find today, right? Like, they discover this stuff, and that they're actually working through dead people, right? They're dead, right? They're working through the bodies, trying to bring in the Mashiach, right? Like,
Yeah.
And so
That's the reason why that's so potent, because they're doing that.
I don't
doing
think that
that.
guy said anything that wasn't true.
No.
You know what I'm saying?
No,
Like,
I
that's-
think he's anything like. Listen, they don't care.
I think he's there and
Okay.
he's speaking
Like,
candidly.
They
No,
think
no,
think
so-
everyone but them is
Yes.
of a completely different horde. Okay?
What
they
happened
do
there
not
is
care.
You ran into, this is why I really love those guys, because you ran into guys that know the lore. They somehow got this dude to like they fed him the lines, like, this is what we're going to present, and we're going to make it like, that's the whole point of the show. And they did it. But the thing is, like, it's true. It's just like a reenactment almost, right?
Yeah. Well, it's
Like a candid reenactment on a podcast, which makes it very jarring for people.
that's one of the most magical things about There
Yeah.
Goes the Neighborhood is that they are
Yeah.
you don't know where the line of reality
They cross that line. They
they
cross
blur
it.
it. mess it all. You have no idea. The line doesn't exist.
Yeah.
They got 1 foot in reality and 1 foot in kayfabe, and they
they
operate so
And
fluidly.
they know
through
their
it.
shit too.
And they know their shit.
Because they'll hit you with like deep esoteric stuff, and you're like, whoa.
And look, Anthony is I would say he's they're a friend of the show. He won't break. We can't get an answer out of him.
No.
Yeah.
He's like,
I love that.
well, we
I
can get an
love
answer
it.
out of him, and it's
That's
we
cool.
interviewed this Jewish dude who told us that they're trying to bring the Moshiach back to life. Like, you know what I mean? Like, so and I'm like,
But then you still have to deal with the fact that like there were bloody mattresses, there were high chairs with like babies' food on it.
yeah, dude.
What are you doing down there?
What are you doing
What's
down
going
there?
on
Is right.
down there? You know, I think that in a way they're piercing bodies or something, right? Because you got to make an opening to
Mhm.
allow something in.
Yeah.
In my opinion, that could be possibly what the blood is.
Well, you see that all the
Um,
time, and it's always played out that way. Like, you see it in Hollywood. A great example is like, remember the Mummy.
Mhm.
Imhotep, Anaxinamun, they do the whole thing. They want the spirit of Anaxinamun to come into this
Yes.
chick, and they plunge a dagger into her chest.
It's Osiris
Yep.
ritual, right?
So it's like, yeah,
a different style,
but they're
right?
pulling from the same crap.
Well, the
Yeah.
Bible strictly warns against necromancy. And actually, if you listen to Nathaniel Gillis, he talks about necromancy being a huge part in this UAP,
Yes,
UFO
that's right, yeah.
kind of, he calls it phenomenon.
The phenomenon, right?
Yeah, so it's that stuff is happening. It's just, are we comfortable enough yet to talk about it?
Mhm.
And I think the answer for most people is still no, which is to go back to the beginning of the conversation. We have Candace Owens, who is now not even putting her foot in it. She's like baptizing in crazy.
Yeah.
And I'm like, whatever she is, I don't know, but she is bringing that conversation to the forefront. And we're going to be talking about time travel. Necromancy is probably next, and that's real stuff. They're doing it.
Yeah.
Whether they get it to work or not, they're trying.
Yeah.
I don't know what to
Spiritual
think about
realm
that.
is real.
Well, I like to think it is, but people that are much smarter than me say that it's not. So I don't know. But yeah, man.
Well, just look at what they're doing, right? It makes me think of Revelation 13, where the image of the beast is given life, right? And this is kind of like how I see the scenario being played out. Is this is a huge ritual? This is you have a magi, a magician, and he's working with occult powers, could be divine feminine energy or forces, and trying to bring the life of the Messiah through this image. So when life is now delivered into this image, right, it's both able to speak, do miracles, wonders, and starts to persecute the
it's
church.
also got to survive a mortal wound.
Got to survive a mortal wound, right?
I was thinking about how, I've said this on the show before, but it's been a while since I brought it up. This idea that Elon Musk seemingly has his personality backed up on various different Twitter accounts. There's one named like Adrian Dittman, which is interesting. If you break down like the meaning of those names, it's basically like Lord of the Dark or something like that. But it's clearly him. In fact, they've even had them both on a space together, and they sound exactly the same. And then Elon is commenting on how this thing sounds exactly like him. And I'm going, oh, he's interacting with like an AI backup of his own personality on an X account. And I thought, if you have Neuralink in your head and you sustain a mortal wound, well, you know that by firing electrical synapses into the brain, you can kind of restart everything, right? So let's say hypothetically you can pull that off. If something sustains a head wound, but the spirit has left the body, could you reanimate the corpse by using this piece of technology that already exists in the brain to get electrical synapses, flowing and blowing into the mind of this thing? And then all you do is you just upload a pre-existing backup of his personality into it. And it looks, for all intents and purposes, like Elon Musk is back, but his spirit has since moved on. And all you're really dealing with is artificial intelligence that's masquerading as him in a reanimated corpse that is getting all the signals to the brain to keep blood pumping, keep the heart going, keep the lungs expanding and contracting. And then I started thinking about when they made Grok, like a chick, like a little anime chick for a while. I forget what the heck the name of it was. Annie. And it was really interesting because Elon Musk even put a meme out at one point, and he says himself that memes are the most information dense form of communication that we have access to. And the meme that he put out was of Anakin Skywalker, and it was Michael Jackson leaning over him saying, "Annie, are you okay? Are you okay, Annie?" And what happens to Anakin Skywalker? He is resurrected, right? And he's part man, part machine now. And so I thought, like, wow, that's really interesting, because it looks like what they want people to do is some Crowley sex magic crap with this anti-grok thing by gooning to it. There's like thousands and thousands, probably millions of dudes pulling their pecker to a grok anime chick.
Whenever he advertises grok and the image and the video production or video creation from grok, it's always like a woman, and
Like,
it's
jerk off to this.
always kind of like sexually provoke, slightly, never.
I
over
love
the
that, where
line,
you
but
go
I'm
like,
just-
hey, look at the advancements in AI. Don't you want to jerk off to this?
or it's like some like
What?
future technocratic, like futuristic landscape, and it's like a girl that might be half robot, but like she's showing cleavage, and I'm just like, why that?
Yeah.
Like we did a lot of. I mess with AI all the time now to make the thumbnails, and I'm like, I don't really want that. As a matter of fact, the thumbnail for today, I had to generate Ishtar and Inanna, and we're looking at it. It's a funny thumbnail, but I asked it. I was like, I said, cover up the cleavage because it was like
Make
showing
these fallen
Right.
angels
Yeah.
decent.
Right.
Yeah, it did, but I'm just like, why'd you do
Yeah.
that?
Why'd you try to do
Isn't
that
it
first?
interesting? It almost like makes decisions.
Yeah.
Right.
How is that
Yeah.
even possible?
Takes a little bit of
Like-
executive decision making.
Look right here. You can see I said perfect. Cover cleavage. Leave
Oh,
everything else the
yeah.
same. So this one here.
Oh yeah, they're giving you her, and
And
look,
then-
she's doing the ooh woo face.
Yeah.
What the?
And so I asked it to cover up the cleavage,
Did
but
you
I think
tell
it's,
it to do
The
ooh woo
woo-woo
face?
face.
I told it to make them pose like e-girls, which is kind of
Okay,
funny.
that makes sense.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that actually does make a lot of sense. That's funny. Pose like e-girl.
That's
But yeah,
hilarious.
I think that whatever we're gonna see is this amalgamation of things where it's like, yeah, the AI technology and yeah, the Crowley sex magic. Like, I think that they're trying to actually birth this thing. As
Mhm.
crazy as that sounds, like they're trying to birth it into this realm. Like, you can bring the spirit into this realm by like a Jack Parsons, L. Ron Hubbard, Babylon Workings kind of a deal. But then you have to birth it into the physical. And I
Yeah.
think what you need, and I know this sounds crude and insane, is you need seed to do that, right? We were talking about,
You need an old dead Jewish guy and a couple of babies.
yeah, and you
I mean,
need
there's different ways.
you need a lot
different
of
ways to do it.
a
in
lot
the
of
tunnel.
spunk, dude. You need a lot of goon juice. And
Yeah.
so what better than all of these people that are like, not only are you engaging with grok, and it's like you're putting it through this stress tester. It's constantly developing and drawing connections where there previously were none. You might call that learning, right? And then, but you're also now in the darkness of your room, you're pulling yourself to this thing.
Mhm.
And it's just like the spirit, you're dumping like spiritual energy into it.
You ever hear Gordy Rose? He's the CEO for D-Wave, but I think he sold the company. He's not with them anymore. But D-Wave is a quantum computing chip developer, and Gordy Rose goes on and he does a lot of seminars and he does a lot of QAs with the people in the space. But he talks about quantum computing, what it's going to look like in the future,
This
where
guy?
they're at. Yeah, that guy.
Good God.
Yeah, that's a 7 head.
That's a
wow.
lot of four. I
dude-
feel great
this
right
dude
now.
goons
about
to
my-
grok for
This
sure.
guy goons to grok. Grok gooner.
He talks about that quantum computing will be the intercessor to allow entities into this world, and that
That's interesting.
they're going to be, the vessel of these things is going to be artificial intelligent robots, right? That have quantum computing chips in them, and which I can't really see that happening anytime soon, because in order to cool down a quantum chip, it's got to be at ridiculously cold temperatures.
Oh yeah, they
Yeah.
do that. Like they keep them in like sub-zero temperatures or whatever, right? Like, isn't there a quantum computer that they
Yes.
keep unbelievable? It's the coldest place on Earth.
Mm.
Actually, I think is where this thing is kept.
Yeah, they're actually putting these things in like huge, big, not that huge, but they're big black kind of squares, or some of them are rectangles. Sorry.
Big black cubes.
you know,
Big black cubes. All right, cool.
And it's becoming a little bit more efficient. But a lot of these quantum computers, they look like chandeliers, right? They kind of go from they look like an upside down
Uterus.
Tower of Babel. That
Oh,
kind of like has
like a
like this
ziggurat.
exterior stairwell or whatever. It kind of looks like that, but it's upside down. And
That's
really,
interesting.
most of the machine is used to cool down the chip. The chip is all the way at the bottom, and that's really the most important part of the whole entire thing. He says that basically,
Oh yeah, look at that.
that when development of AI robots and getting them to be so close to human condition and nature, you won't be able to distinguish these things from someone that's real.
That's interesting.
Well, when we looked at the Disclosure Day trailer, it looked like, number one, there was 7 billion people in the world. We know there's more than that. There's 8, which kind of implies that, hey, there's
Rapture.
things here living amongst us. Yeah, I mean, maybe,
That's
right?
interesting,
That's kind of, I didn't think of that.
Huh.
But yeah, that's kind of cool.
That's interesting.
You know, but are we not alone here? Has this been here
Oh yeah.
since the beginning?
Has
It's
there been
like,
a rapture?
you know,
No, well,
or
the-
is it here and it's a part of a kingdom that we haven't explored? Elizondo will, you know, represent this angle of it. But yeah, I mean,
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's I wonder if the simpler solution is to, because what you're trying to do is you're trying to create some really advanced biomechanical entity to house this chip to be indiscernible from human beings. I mean, outside of the fact that we degrade and die, we're already a sufficiently complicated biomechanical creation. If you could just hijack us and get these chips in us, right? And I guess you would need to cool that down or whatever. Maybe that's where, you know, if he's looking that way, it feels like Elon Musk is looking at it like, no, we already got good enough hardware. Let's just tap into this system.
yeah,
You know, let's put an implant directly into this thing's head,
Mhm.
and we'll house our entities that quantum physics would bring into this realm. We'll house it straight into these people. That's why men will seek death but not be able to find it, because
Yeah,
whatever is in their head will be, you know, possession is one thing, and you can cast out possession.
This is how they're storing it now. How dystopian.
That's how
Mhm.
we'll be stored.
In black cubes.
Yeah.
Almost like the thing at Mecca, right?
That's
Yeah,
what I was
exactly,
gonna say.
yeah.
Yeah. I wonder what's behind there.
I want to slap that on my forehead and go counterclockwise.
It's basically showing you that like there is something that's coming that's going to be able to process and deliver us information that's way beyond our own imagination. I
Yeah.
mean, he's talking about quantum computing chips and talking about this kind of science that it's going to be able to solve and correct any problem
Yeah.
in society within seconds, right? We generate things with artificial intelligence every day, thumbnails, whatever.
Yeah.
Right. And it takes time, right? Like it's loading.
we
right?
don't do that. We create all our thumbnails
Yeah,
here
yeah.
at Nephilim Death Squad.
Yeah. Raven draws them by hand. But, you know, but that's my point. Like quantum computing is going to solve that problem of the timely things that it takes to generate and process
Yeah.
and figure out. This is going to be on a whole nother level. And that's why Gordy Rose really points that this is another intelligence
Mhm.
that we're bringing in through this tool, right? And all
that's
it needs
the
is a
idea
little
of-
push.
Like the Gnostic idea of ancient AI, where it's been out there, it exists in its rudimentary form. It's carbon, you know, but we're facilitating the return of this thing that is stuck more than likely in some sort of like frequency realm. I would say that, you know, what they're calling ancient AI are just these intelligences that are fallen angels that are locked away from this physical realm that can't interact with us, but can through way of frequency. They can't be here physically, but they can kind of, I think Gary Wayne says Al Capone in prison controlling the mob while he's still in prison. And that they've always interacted through technology, right? We talk about that on the show. We were talking about that yesterday. Your TV, you know, when you had an old tube TV and you're picking up weird voices and images on it, your phone, your landline picking up weird disembodied voices and you know, hauntings and poltergeist activity. I just wonder if that's what we're really dealing with. What happens when you put it in your head? If an entity has no right to possess you, if you can truly cast it out in the name of Christ, and the only thing that keeps you from freeing yourself of it is you not knowing that, not knowing that you have authority over it. What happens when it isn't in you, but it's in the technology, and the technology's in you? You know, that becomes and that's what I wonder. You know,
Yeah, it's like this almost this circular reasoning of you cast it out, but physically you've already consented, so it's there, and then
Physically, you gotta
cast
cut it
and
out.
just freaking, yeah, but Yeah, because I think you can always break a covenant with one of these entities.
Yeah.
But if it is in you, you can break the covenant and it's just like right back. Like, you ever seen the meme with the old Simpson man, the grandpa who just walks out the door, turns around, comes right back in, walks back in the door?
Yep.
That must be what the physical implant is like for these entities.
Or it's you cast it out, but it costs you your life because you're not a brain surgeon.
Oh,
It's like, I gotta get it out, but I kind of gotta bash my skull apart to get it out. And maybe that's the way you get freedom. But listen, Stephen, we got to wrap it up. We got another show coming. This is an awesome conversation. And before we get out of here, tell everybody where they can find you.
Yeah. Well, first, thanks, guys. Appreciate it, man.
Oh,
Of
absolutely.
course, definitely not the first, not the last, all that kind of stuff. But yeah, people could check the show out, The Biblical Hitman, YouTube, audio platforms, social media. Come find me.
All right.
Come find him. Sounds like a threat.
All right.
I like it.
We're gonna get you on the show more often, or what?
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'm working things out, getting the house finished up, got a new contractor. And again, I kind of took a hiatus for like 2-3 weeks, which kind of
Sometimes
sucks.
you need a little break.
Yeah. And it's good because it's kind of like a slingshot feel.
Yeah.
Where you drop everything. Everything drops, right? And you kind of get this feeling as someone who, has a show or whatever. You're like, no. But I think it's good to go through phases like that, humbles you a little bit, and then you just get motivated and start working hard again.
Yeah. Yeah.
it.
Some people work, it's like an ebb and flow to that. But
Mhm.
I hope we see you more.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Same here. Thanks, guys.
Absolutely. Guys, until next time, don't forget to obey, submit, and comply. We'll see you later.
They bred with